we are not about this resolution, those who I'm associated with, I don't think anybody in the Senate. If there is one senator in the United States Senate that is all about defeating America, making America's position more dangerous, or eroding our standing in the world, I don't know of that person. If you do, please let me know. Every one of the 100 senators, Republican, Democrat, Independent, that I know of, has said, how do we do this in a way that we look after, first, the national interest of America? That still is rather significant. I don't question the president's sincerity, his motivation in this. I never have, nor anyone in his administration. This president is sincere about what he said last night. He believes this is the right thing to do. I happen to disagree. So, that we don't somehow project to the outside world that there's disagreement in our government, in our country, about the future of Iraq. I think that if that is what our role is going to be, and yes, we can, Mr. Lugar, we can hold more hearings, oversight. I don't know what that's produced. We are going to have more oversight. Part of the problem that we have, I think, is because we didn't involve the Congress in this when we should have. And I'm to blame. Every senator who's been here the last 4 years has to take some responsibility for that. But I will not sit here in this Congress of the United States at this important time for our country and in the world and not have something to say about this. And maybe I'll be wrong. And maybe I have no political future. I don't care about that. But I don't ever want to look back and have the regret that I didn't have the courage and I didn't do what I could to at least project something. This resolution, by the way, does not tie the hands of the President of the United States. It does not tie the hands of the President of the United States in any way. So I would go back to where I began and pick up on a point that Chairman Lugar mentioned. Coherence of strategy. I don't know how many United States senators believe we have a coherent strategy in Iraq. I don't think we've ever had a coherent strategy. In fact, I would even challenge the administration today to show us the plan that the President talked about the other night. There is no plan. I happen to know Pentagon planners were on their way to the Centralcom over the weekend. They haven't even Team B'd this plan. And my dear friend Dick Lugar talks about coherence of strategy. There is no strategy. This is a ping pong game with American lives. These young men and women that we put in Anbar province, in Iraq, in Baghdad are not beans. They're real lives. And we better be damn sure we know what we're doing, all of us, before we put 22,000 more Americans into that grinder. We better be as sure as you can be. And I want every one of you, every one of us, 100 senators to look in that camera and you tell your people back home what you think. Don't hide anymore. None of us. That is the essence of our responsibility. And if we're not willing to do it, we're not worthy to be seated right here. We fail our country. If we don't debate this, we are not worthy of our country. We fail our country. I say again, and I will conclude with this, Mr. Chairman, I am grateful that we live in a country that allows us to bring before the American public differences of opinion in a civil way, an important way. Yes, it's passionate. Yes, it's emotional. People feel strongly on all sides. I respect that. But I would caution again, stop the impugning of people's motives. Stop the political stuff. All of us. All of us. This is much bigger than that. And if we're not adult enough to understand that, we will lose the confidence of the American public. That's what's happening right now. And I'll go back to where I started. No president can govern a nation, and certainly cannot conduct a policy, a war policy, without the support of the American public. That means the support of the Congress. We can't be divided. Does it get better if we don't talk about it? Is that what we're thinking here? Well, let's just don't talk about a resolution. Let's don't have a resolution. It'll get better. Well, all I would do is point to the last 4 years. Are things better in the Middle East today? No, they're more dangerous today in the Middle East than they've ever been. I challenge anyone to question that. We hear that from our panelists. Every day we have hearings. whether it's Iran, whether it's Lebanon, whether it's Syria, whether it's Iraq. It is far more dangerous than we've ever seen. We have totally destroyed our standing and reputation and influence in the Middle East by what we're doing. And the more we sink down into this bog, the harder it is to get out of, the more enemies we make, just as Generals Abizaid and Casey said in November before the Senate Armed Services Committee. We don't need more American troops. And I would quote General Shirelli, who was the 3-star in charge of Baghdad who just recently left. You know what he said a couple months ago? I don't need more American troops in Baghdad, I need more jobs. That's what he said. We're disconnecting the human dynamic, the human element. The people of Iraq are good people. That's not the issue here. But when people have no hope, when there's despair, little else matters. And this is not about terrorists don't like freedom. Tell that to the Palestinian people who have been chained down for many, many years. Terrorism is not a strategy, it's a tactic. Terrorism is not a plan. It's not a belief like democracy or monarchy. It's a tactic. It's a tactic. And so it's far more complicated than what I think a lot of us are led to believe. And if it's that complicated, then we need to get into it. This resolution is to hopefully bring something positive forward so that we can debate it, we can try to find some resolution, we can try to find some consensus on both sides of the aisle, we can try to give the President and the American people some confidence, especially the American people, that we do have a policy, that we do have some consensus, that we can come to some agreement. If we do not do this, they won't make any difference what Dick Lugar says or Joe Biden or John Warner or anybody else. It won't make any difference. This will unwind, as it already is over the last 4 years, to a point where it will make America's position in the world far more dangerous than it's ever been, and it will make the world dangerous. And when America loses the trust and confidence of the world, it makes the world more dangerous. America needs the world needs American leadership. And this is not about isolationism. This is not about pulling American troops out of the Middle East. None of that. This is about a smart way to project our military using the comprehensive framework of diplomacy as part of that. That's exactly what the Baker-Hamilton Commission was about. The 79 recommendations, and I would recommend that those of you who have not read those 79 recommendations should read them. These were from 10 very eminent Republicans and Democrats that came up with these recommendations. There's where we should go back to. There's where the bipartisan consensus is to go forward. Again, I say thank you for the opportunity to present the resolution on behalf of Chairman Biden, Chairman Levin, and Senator Snowe.